Welcome to Coach's Corner. We want to say thanks to everybody out there for all your subscriptions on YouTube and your views. We appreciate the love and the support that everybody's given. Today, I got one of Danbury's own, and he's just not one of Danbury's own. Mr. Delvin Rodriguez has been making noise in the boxing business for years. Now retired, 29-9, 4 draws, former 4 title holder, one in different division. You have been in there with many champions, and want to welcome you to Coach's Corner today, taking the time out and coming on, and really appreciate this.
Thank you, Dave. No, thank you for having me here. Hey, I'm happy for you. This is a nice setup you got here.
Yeah.
I think this is great. I think you can go far with this.
Yeah, well, I appreciate it. And look, maybe and go as far as you went in your career, being in Danbury, I got to see you at a couple of different levels, on the personal level and then obviously on the fighting level. I ask everybody the same kind of question that comes into this game. What gravitated you to the sport of boxing?
At that time, I came to the country to Danbury, as a matter of fact, when I was 8 years old. And I'm really a farm boy. Back in the Dominican Republic, I was in the farm. Just
simple life,
very very simple, innocent little child. A little kid. And it's like, okay, I come to a different country. You come here, it's like a different universe. Back in those days, Dominican is very advanced nowadays, but back in those days, living in the farm, in the countryside,
right,
coming to the United States, it was like a different universe, So basically what brought me to the gym was just friends. I met my first Latino Dominican friend in school. I went looking for him. I remember his house, and the gym was like Hack City Boxing Club was close to his house. I went to his house. He wasn't at home. I asked his mom, and she told me where he was. So I walked to the gym. And to be honest, the first time I stepped into the gym was like taking a kid to a park. It was just so engaged. I was so engaging, just the heavy bag, the ring, and the competition. I think what really got me focused in the game was just the competition. I remember sparring with my friend, him beating me up, and I just couldn't believe that a skinny kid like himself at that time could just beat me like that. Because usually when in Dominican Republic, we use a lot of games where we wrestle, we fight, and I always had that, no, you can't beat me. So it was just competition, and at the moment it was just a great way to just make friends and just give myself more confidence,
Yeah.
A lot
then it took off from there. You were hooked.
Well, I think it was just that. I think it's just the competition, because when I got there, my friends, the first kid that I went to see, he had already been there for years, so he had experience. Mm-hmm. So I go in the ring with him, and he would play around with me. So I was like, this can't be, this, I couldn't believe it. My mind couldn't believe that this skinny kid could just play with me in the ring. So I think that's what stuck to my head. I said, listen, I got to find a way. So it was basically the competition. And I stuck with it. Like, I remember the gym was open from like Monday to Friday. I got friendly with the guy that was in charge of the gym, and I got a key. So I was there even Sundays. So Saturday and Sunday I was there. I just want to step up to that level where my friends were.
How many amateur fights did you have?
I had about 65. Yeah.
When did you? Now you're in Hat City, and for people in Danbury, I wasn't up here at the time when Hat City. I heard about it, the reputation of it. Definitely old school, hardcore boxing.
Man, it was the best thing for kids around in Danbury at that time. I remember I got here at 1989, and back in the 80s here, Danbury was hot, man. It was hot. It wasn't like now. Now there's nothing going on in Danbury. Now it's chill. You can leave your home door open, your car open. Nothing happens. But back in those days, it was completely different.
Yeah, it was a little more city-like, tougher area.
Yes.
When did it kick in that now coaches, when are they noticing you? You're in the gym, and I know you. I know you're a gym rat. When you're getting ready to fight, I know you're preparing yourself. So that had to be you as a kid also.
I have to. I mean, boxing, and I think we don't see many champions nowadays because of that, because now boxing has become a business. We were talking about it behind the cameras. Now boxing just became a business. I don't think you could get so much famous on Instagram and all that, but when you go in that ring, you could die, man. I mean, you got to be in shape. You can't cheat it.
No.
This is a game you cannot cheat. It will definitely show in the ring.
Yes.
If you don't do your running, if you don't do your exercise, if you're not in the gym getting ready for a fight at least 3 months, if you don't step off the nightlife, all that, I mean, it's going to show. So, yeah, it was nowadays I think about the discipline I had back in those days, and it's like, oh my God, man. Now, I'm retired.
Yeah.
But I do things now that I never did back in the days. I couldn't. The discipline and me knowing what it takes to be in the ring, to win a fight, to prepare for a fight, can't do it.
Yeah, well, you're talking about over 60 amateur fights, over 35, 36 professional fights. You're in the gym continuously. From a young kid to the time you turn pro, you might have a little bit of time off. And like you said before, look, you can't cheat boxing. It's you and the other guy in there. And if you're not ready, if you're not right, you're going to get exposed.
That's one thing, Dave. That's one thing I tell all the fighters coming up. I see a lot of talents coming up. There's talents in the embryo,
Yeah.
The thing is, I tell them, listen, you got to be dedicated 100%. If you have any small doubt in your mind that this is not what you want to do, get out, because it's going to hurt you at the end.
Yeah.
It's just going to hurt you. I'm very glad. I'm happy that I retired at the time where my mental health is good.
Right.
I don't have any effect.
Right. You didn't take
from boxing.
You didn't take a lot of punishment where other fighters might have in their game.
I mean, I got to be honest, the last 3-4 fights that I did, I wasn't really into it. I was just going through the motions. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, what am I doing?
But also, in due respect, you did not shy away from a tough fight. You're at the end of and nothing for the beginning of your career either. At the end of your career, you took some tough fights.
Yeah, I did.
You
and the worst,
stepped up.
I'm prepared for fights. A tough fight when you're not prepared 100% professionally wise.
Right.
That's what kills you. That's what kills a fighter.
Yeah, no, it's you're
if
right.
You don't have, it's like crazy, because for you to step to the level that I did and accomplish and win, succeed, there's so many things that got to close the circle. There's so many things for that circle to come together. For you to be 100%, no, let's not lie, not 100%, because nobody's ever 100% for a fight. But let's say 90% for a fight, 95%.
Well, here's the deal,
the night
right?
Of the fight.
We can talk 100% as far as your preparation. You
Preparation,
compare
yes.
100%,
Yes.
right? Your plan is your team putting together and say, okay, Delvin, you're going to fight so-and-so. What's the plan? All right, we sit down, we come up with the plan. We got 10 weeks, 12 weeks, whatever we have to train for this fight, where we fight and what weight, come up with the plan. All right? Now, as a team, if the fighter is confident going into the fight, you're good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? What happens in the fight, that's boxing. You know that about Delvin, right?
Yeah, definitely.
But if you're walking into a fight prepared, this as a fighter, you're feeling like, fuck this, I can go through it.
I agree with you 100% on that. But let me tell you something. When you train 3 months for a fight, right? Basically at the level I went, you have to start slowly,
right,
to get the body back into shape.
There's levels of the training.
Yes. Now, I promise you that by the night of the fight, not the major, but something is gonna hurt our fighter. You're gonna be uncomfortable with something. Not major. It might not make a difference in the fight. But that's the reason why we say nobody's ever 100%.
Right.
When you step into the ring.
Is it, do you think as a fighter, is it a little self-doubt? Is it uncertainty?
No, it's just that the body's not made, it was not made to be hit all the time.
Right.
Just getting prepared for a fight, you know as well as a coach that it takes a lot of training for you to be prepared, for a fight. Like to be where you could go 12th round in an intense fight. But like I said, it's not that little uncomfortability. Let's just call it like that. It's not going to affect you in a fight, but it's still something that is hurting. It's there.
It's there.
But yeah, it just takes so much work. So I always tell the kids, because kids reach out to me on Facebook and, Delvin, what do you think about this? I'm like, listen, I don't see the dedication. I don't see dedication. Like, and I compare to when I started in Hack City Boxing. Like I say, like how I was all about my training and discipline. You know what I mean?
So once you got into it more as an amateur, was the thought of becoming a professional in your head, was it just?
I don't know. You know what my dream was?
You're a musician.
No, going to the Olympics.
Really?
I didn't think about becoming professional. You know what I'm saying? At that time when I first started, because my first trainer, who was my mentor, who was everything in my life, who I am the person I am today because of him, because he helped me so much. Because like I said, back in those days, Denver wasn't easy. My mom came here. My mom was not an educated person. My father, they're working in factories.
Hard-working people.
Factory, you know what I'm saying?
Blue-collar people.
Exactly. And basically I was on my own because my father had 2 jobs, my mom had 2 jobs. I was on my own, but my coach, old man Mike, who everybody knows, anybody in Denver that knows Hack City knows Mike Salazar. You know, he passed away.
I remember the name, and I've heard his name.
He took over so many kids.
Yeah.
And it was another way out for me. It was another way, like I say, my father wasn't around at the time. My mom had to work 2 jobs, so he took over. So that was another reason why it's like, wow.
Yeah, you had a good, and as well as most fighters, you had a good beginning. You had a good base.
Yes.
And I never met Mike Salazar.
And that means a lot.
I heard about him through everybody in Danbury, and everybody speaking very highly about him. As a fighter, if you're building, you got to build that base strong.
Oh,
the fundamentals.
That's the main thing.
The fundamentals.
And that's another topic, Dave. What I see kids nowadays doing, the fundamentals are all twisted. It's like.
Well, it's funny you talk about that because I say this, right? Boxing really hasn't changed fundamentally wise over the years. People have become more athletic. Fighters have become stronger, faster, bigger, right?
Technology has a lot of stuff.
Right? But the main fundamentals of how to throw a punch, how to stand, has not changed.
See, but you see what you say right there? That's exactly exactly the same way I think. All technologies make you stronger.
Yes.
All vitamins.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, if you don't have the
you can't throw a punch properly, you can't throw a punch properly.
That's it. And then you're going to pay for it. Yes or no? When you might not pay, because I was telling Fernandito this. We talk all the time, and I was telling you have the talent.
Yes.
Do you have the discipline now? I'm not sure. Do you have the will? I'm not sure, but you do have the talent. Now, there's a lot of fundamental that I see. You know what I'm saying?
But do you see that, and maybe not in just in case you've been around different fighters, do you think you've seen fighters who are just have a lot of natural ability and they get away with it in the sport because they're better off?
I'm sorry to interrupt it. That's where I was going.
Yeah.
I lost my point there. You have everything. I say you're going to get away for it now because you have speed, you have the talent. Now, once you reach that, once you go to the next step, once you go beyond 15 fights, you're going to pay for it. I hope by that time you correct those mistakes. Mm-hmm. And that's what boxing is. I don't care what you say that, I'm good. Yeah, you're good to a certain level. Now, once you reach that level, if you don't correct those tiny mistakes, trust me, you're going to pay for it.
Yeah.
And that's how it is. That's how it is. Because it's all level. Dave, it's all steps. All right? All steps.
Well, that's it. People don't realize, people see, when we talk about this a lot, people see the fighters, they don't realize what they do to get there. They don't realize what it takes.
The process.
Right. They don't realize that all of a sudden you got 20 wins, but they don't realize it was a struggle to get to the 20 wins because motivation, discipline, training. Maybe the fighter has self-doubt, issues with promoters.
Issues with the managers,
all over the place. It's not baseball, basketball, football, where you know what, you show up in the locker room, your agent's there, everybody's good, you're getting you know what I mean?
And everybody looks at you as a money signal. You know what I'm saying? When you're coming up and you're shining, you don't know who to trust anymore. That's very hard.
You know,
about boxing.
that's a whole different avenue because you know as well as I do, there's a lot of moving parts to boxing that fighter has attachments to. So his money is not always what it seems to be.
Not at all.
You know what I mean? You're making a big check if you have a manager, a promoter, whatever the case may be. Everybody's got a piece of you across the board.
Yes.
That's just, and I've talked about it with other guests where, you know, fighters don't realize what they're making for a fight. By the time
they have no idea.
By the time they get their check and everything is taken out and taxes and everything else, they're not.
Let me tell you,
I fought for this,
and not even that is the worst part that really got to my mind was like, the promoter tells you or the manager tells you how much. Okay, that's what it is. You take it. To you at that time, you think, wow, that's a lot of money. I'm taking it, but you don't know what it was really being made. Like, you know, when I find out what a fight really costs is when I started working for ESPN and HBO. I'm like, wow, you know.
Then you know what the negotiations are really, what the fight, what the purse bid is behind the scenes.
And that was such a downfall for me because I have no idea. Like I say, I'm a farm boy that came from a whole different third world country.
Right.
I have no idea whatsoever negotiation. I don't, $5,000. That sounds good to me. Give it to me. You know what I'm saying? But and I think that is the downfall. Maybe 99% of the boxers. They don't have the knowledge of what's going on, the business area.
Yeah, well,
there's
in the business area and boxing.
I think that's going to be like that forever.
There's a lot of different levels. But let's go back to you. When is it time that you say to yourself, all right, you're shooting for the Olympics, you're training, you're going to amateur fights now. You know, obviously, we talked about this. Danbury was good at Hat City, but you got to go out of the area now to fight. Yeah. You're going to New York. You're getting tested. When did this click to you that say, hey, I can maybe do something with this sport? Well,
you know, I won like 6 Junior Olympics. I won the regionals, the national.
Right.
I beat everybody in Connecticut, so I went to New York.
Yeah.
And that's how it started out. And then as a kid, traveling around the country, wow, that was amazing for me. You know?
Right, you're going to the national tournaments.
We used to go to Lake Placid, New York all the time, just stay there, and it was nice. But when I realized, I remember I took a trip with Finale Feliz to Houston, Texas. You know,
in camp.
He was already with the Holyfield trainer. You know, Klitschko brother. That's when we first arrived to the country. You know, and we went to Houston for like. I was still an amateur, but I went to Houston. I was sparring with professional.
Yeah.
I was sparring with Junior Jones, Poison Jones.
I remember Junior Jones.
I love that guy, man. We go at it, but I love him. And that's when I was like, the Holyfield was like, listen, you want to go to the Olympics? I could sponsor you. I'm like, yo, I'm in. For some reason, I don't know, man. There was a guy up in my ears, and I changed my mind, bro. Like, I let my dream go when I had it right there. And it was like, to this day, it's like, wow, I regret it. I regret it because I have no intention of going pro. I wasn't thinking about the money. You
were just boxing, enjoying boxing.
I just want to be recognized as...
Yeah, you were enjoying the sport, the purity of the sport at the time.
But, you know, I let people get in my ears, and you know, and I think that was... I really got that's something that affected my career. I let people talk me into things because I have no experience.
Right.
You know, you trust somebody as your own. You know what I mean? And that really took a turn in my career, and it happened in the pros too. And that's what boxing is all about. Like, if you don't have the knowledge, if you don't have the experience, what else are you gonna do? You know what I mean? You're gonna listen to people that you really trust.
Well, you think you're listening to people who know the sport, so you think that they're guiding you. Some are very good at guiding you, and some might not be.
And listen, this is my camera. Listen, the boxers that are coming up right now, everybody's gonna tell you they love you. I love you, yo. I love you. The person that tells you, the first person that when you coming up and you shining, the first person that tells you that loves you, run away. Run away, buddy, because that's the favorite word for boxing, for the boxing coach, manager. I love you. bro, I heard that word so many times, and those are the people that really, really messed me up. But, I can't blame anybody. I got to blame myself.
Yeah, but you know what? Okay, your learning experience and you are where you are today. But as a pro, I mean, man, you turn pro, you go wildfire. I mean, you're a highlight reel on ESPN regularly here. You're one of the first local fighters fighting in Mohegan Sun on a regular basis. They love you there. Yeah. I mean, it's just...
I don't regret it, Dave, because it was a great life experience. Nobody... There's nothing in life that if I put myself to, I don't believe I can accomplish, just because of boxing.
Right.
Because how hard that journey was. You know what I mean? And I had a good run. I didn't get to where I wanted, where I thought I deserved to be.
Yeah.
But it was
it was a
great life experience.
Knowing you're a very humble, soft-spoken guy, quiet guy. You're not a flashy guy. You probably took that blue-collar approach that your parents had and put it into boxing.
Yeah.
And you know what? Your reputation coming out of Danbury and becoming a pro, I mean, you're very well respected in the sport. Not only as a fighter, because if people saw you fight, and the people that have seen you fight know you've been in some really wars.
Yeah,
you've been in wars, and
exciting fight.
Yeah, exciting fight, right? Friday night fights. Joe Tessitore, he loves your ass, man. I mean, you put some great performances on.
Boxing, like I said, boxing.
And
just
you didn't
gave me a life. It was a life.
But you know
experience.
what? You didn't shy away from anybody. You fought. At that time. During your career,
I just wasn't business smart. I wasn't smart in the business because I just listened to whatever they told me. I'm like, okay, I always went with it. And said, but nowadays, you see, it's like, just fight for what you think, man. Listen, if you think this fight is worth, just fight for it and be like, no, I'm not fighting. But I got.
Do you think there's more cherry picking in boxing now than there ever was?
Oh my God!
As far as fighting, now you say one thing, right? Because we all know, right? Fighters are going to fight. Fighters are going to tell you if they want to fight somebody, man, I'll fight that guy for $1.
And the only person that can stop that is the promoter
or the coach. Coach has got to tell you.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, the fighter has the last word. You know what I'm saying?
True.
If he really cares for you and he has the experience, he's going to tell, listen, this fight's not good for us right now.
See, I kind of go like this with knowing the business end of it in some sense. Okay, some coaches just want to take fights with their fighters. Continue.
Yeah.
I'm like you. Look, you got to look at your fighter and say, look, where do you want to be? If you're a mid-level fighter or a top 10 fighter, whatever, what's your plan? Fights mean money. Don't just start taking fights because you feel you need to fight a lot.
Because it's like we was talking about this different level. So this different fight, you go by level, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, let's say you're a beginner. You take 3, 4, 5, 7 fights. After the 10th fight, you step into the next level. You know what I'm saying? You step into the next level. Then the 15th, the next level, right? And that's how it goes. But every fighter, like you said, if you really want to go to the top, you're going to take that risk.
You're going to take a risk, of course.
There's at least 3 tests. Three tests for you to really get to know, get known. And that's how it is. But the thing is, once you step to that level, that's when the money starts coming, right? And then it becomes a business. All right? I mean, we see it all the time. Now, is it worse nowadays? Yeah, of course. Look at Canelo. Of course it's worse. Because now, if you're the champion, like, why am I going to fight you that is a 50-50, right? When I can fight this other guy and make the same money. So it's like a business, but
we also, look, boxing has changed like we were talking about. Social media, Instagram has bumped up the stakes in boxing.
Oh, it's so much easier now.
Stream services. We go back, I keep saying it, you remember it because you fought on these shows and you did commentary on them. ESPN putting 2 shows a week, Tuesday night, Friday night fights. Yeah. Those guys weren't making a lot of money, but they're happy to be fighting on TV. And they were happy to start being noticed by the fans and build a fan base.
That's the same. it's just, at the end of the day, we're an artist. It's the same as an artist.
Yeah.
You know, you got your song. You want your song to be known. It's the same thing as a boxer. I want my technique. I want my talent to be known, right? How does that happen? You got to be on TV. But nowadays, even in YouTube, you know,
Yeah.
it's easier now. It's easier now to get yourself known out there, you know. But back in those days, like you say, Tuesday night fight, Friday night fight. If you were on Friday night fight, the world's gonna see you.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
everybody.
saying?
Yeah, you hit it as a fighter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That was it. And then obviously the next step, HBO Showtime, which we don't have anymore. But look, for you, training, what was your toughest fight as a fighter?
Toughest fight.
This is something I never asked you. I know, look, you've been with Cotto, you've been with Trout, you were with Lara.
It wasn't even a fight. I mean, it's like...
And you had some wars, I know, but for you, what people might not know, what was your toughest fight, personally? Because
there's this technical fights and there's hard fights.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Technical-wise, I fought Lara.
Yeah.
For me, I couldn't get to him. Like, I couldn't figure him out. You know what I'm saying?
Was he that awkward, that fast?
Yes, I made adjustment. In every round, I had to make an adjustment. And I still couldn't get to him, you know? That was technical, that was my hardest fight.
That Cuban style is a tough style.
Yeah, and like, he never stayed there. Like, he never stayed there, you know?
Yeah.
Hardest fight? Man, let me go back, because I got to go back. I say,
Powell?
Powell.
The first one?
The first
one.
one.
In Roseland?
Yeah.
I was at that fight.
It's because you hit him and he doesn't stop. You hit him and he doesn't stop.
You pounded him and he wouldn't go down.
Yeah, he wouldn't go down. It's like he kept going. He had stamina like crazy.
Yeah.
And that if you don't have a strong mind, that can really discourage you when you're hitting somebody over and over, nonstop.
And you had him close a couple of times to go.
A couple of times.
You had him close.
A couple of times.
I mean, that was a great fight. That was an ESPN fight.
But one is crazy. Yeah, that was ESPN fight. And one crazy fight that really changed my style, and for the worse, was when I got knocked out by this kid at the Mohegan one time.
Who? Oh,
Jesse Feliciano.
Feliciano.
Yeah, and I wasn't even hurt. I wasn't hurt. Like, it's just, that's another thing that we could go over.
Yeah.
Forever talking. It was the preparation for the fight. I was making weight, man. I couldn't make weight. You know, that whole week before the fight, I couldn't eat. Mm-hmm. My legs were shot. I wasn't drinking water.
Your legs were shot.
They were shot.
Your whole movement.
But people think that I got hurt. People.
But if you watch, and I remember that fight. Okay, if you watch that fight prior, and I could hear the announcer in my ear watching it on TV, right? You could see your movement because you move when you fight. Your movement is there. It was like you were searching for it.
Dave, the week before the fight, I swear to God, bro, there was days when I couldn't get up from my bed because it
was a hard weight cut for that fight.
You know, and I didn't have I was doing it on my own. Like, I didn't have a personal trainer with me. You know what I'm saying? It was messed up. I was doing everything on my own. I have no knowledge about how do I lose weight. So what did I stop doing? I stopped eating and stopped drinking water.
Stop drinking water.
I stopped drinking water
way too soon.
No, I was like 2 weeks before the fight. You know?
Your body's starting to shut down.
There was a day where my legs were shot, where I couldn't get up from my bed to do my running.
Yeah. You had nothing in you. And see, let's talk about that for one thing, because this is where you're very knowledgeable. And look, as an analyst, you know, people have seen you on, and you are a very technical, can break down a fight, can break down what training is today. And I think what you're saying happens to a lot of fighters, where they don't have people around them guiding them to get ready properly.
Yeah, but nowadays it's so much easier. Let me tell you why. You go on Google, you find anything. You go on YouTube, you find anything. You know what I'm saying? Back in those days, there was no YouTube.
But back in those days, you were going by the hardcore boxing guys. Stop eating.
Yes.
Run.
Yes.
No water.
Yes.
This, that, and
personal trainer. You don't need that.
Yeah. Well, don't lift weights. Don't touch a weight.
You don't need that.
Don't touch anything.
So I was basically just doing it as I felt it was okay. This is how I got to do it. As it looked logical. Like, okay, if you stop eating, you're gonna lose weight. Logical, right? but that's not how it works. If you stop drinking water, you're gonna make weight, which is the worst thing you could do.
You're gonna dry out.
It's the worst thing you could do. You know, yeah. The night before the fight, yes, don't drink water. But a whole week, 2 weeks, controlling your water, there's no way, bro. I mean, I told you, I swear to God, I remember mornings I couldn't get up. I couldn't get up to do my running. I didn't have the strength. My legs were completely shot. And that's what happened at that fight. The Feliciano, like, crazy, bro. I was beating this guy. Like, I was playing with him.
Yeah.
And yeah, he's a tough kid. He was a tough kid. I'm not going to lie. Like, he was one of the guys that I hit so hard, and he was still coming,
Well, if people watch that fight again, there were times in that fight you hit that kid hard and he kept coming.
Oh, yeah. But what I'm saying is, like...
But if you're depleted, you're hard at that level as opposed to you being physically right on point.
Yeah, I mean, if you see the little punch that he hit me with that knocked me, like, and I couldn't get up, bro, my legs were gone. We're going. And that right there, that fight that I can remember, it just changed me mentally, like, for bad. Because after the fight, like, I wasn't as aggressive as I was before. Which my best fights was when I was aggressive, when I was first.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? When I took initiative first.
When you were
Not
controlling,
wait. When I started waiting, yes.
the ring. When you were in the middle of the ring.
When I started waiting, that's when I got.
Right. You were not a counterpuncher.
Yeah.
By no means. You're not a fighter going back. You were a guy coming forward.
Yes.
You know.
Yes. And that was my best. That's when I was at my best.
Yeah.
And I believe that fight, I went to the locker room after that loss, and I was like, yo, I was talking to my manager and my promoter. You know, at that time, one of the best managers that I had was...
You had Stan Hoffman.
Stan Hoffman. Yeah. One of my best... Yeah. Like, we were family, right? Mm. Yeah, he made some big mistake business-wise, but I couldn't really blame him because it was just a mistake that he made. You know, him being nice, but that's the whole different topic. I went to the locker room and I said, I lost to this guy. This guy shouldn't freaking carry my gym bag. You know, yeah, he's tough, but
right.
At that mind, they was like, I gotta quit. I lost to this guy. How am I gonna get back from this? You know, which is stupid. It was early in my career. Right. You know.
Yeah, but you were having success at that point. Yeah. You were coming off fights where you were dominating fighters, having knockouts, exciting fights, and you know what? I get it because, you know, none for nothing. Every fighter's got a little bit of ego. Yeah. But, you know, I mean,
every fight. I mean,
you gotta have a little bit of right.
Yeah. If you don't have ego in this game, you're not gonna go nowhere, man.
I know. So you know what? So now, that's playing with you mentally. Mm-hmm. That's playing with you
for a long time, bro. For a long time, where I started training, it's like, yo, maybe I should come down a little bit. Maybe I shouldn't go so hard, right? Like, you know. So it took me away from my style, which is aggressive and good combination, aggressive. And that really took me away. It took me a while to like, and honestly, I gotta be honest. I never said this, but after that fight, I don't think I was never the same fighter. You know, I didn't have that fire.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's a combination of a lot of stuff. You know, it's a whole bunch of things that.
Well, there's a lot like we talked about goes on with the fighter behind the scenes. Yeah. You know, like stuff like this, people don't see or they don't hear. They don't understand. They see someone lose a fight or get knocked out, and they're like, why? Well, they don't realize why. Okay, they don't realize that maybe, you know, like you said, I didn't cut weight, or I was having problems cutting the weight.
Yeah. What said was it took that loss for my team to realize the stuff that I've been telling them for like a year. I can't make this weight. I need a personal trainer. I can't make 147 no more. You know.
You know, as a fighter, and I see that with some guys. I had one fighter make weight, was eating McDonald's before the weigh-in. Weighed in, knew his body, drank water, go to the weigh him in the morning, and he's a pound off. Goes and jumps rope, comes back, steps on the scale when we go to the weigh-in, and he's spot on weight. Knew his body. I have other fighters that know how to eat, do everything, personal trainer. It's their body they have trouble cutting the weight.
Yeah, it's the body.
You know what I mean? So, like, as coaches, we have to – everybody's body's different. Like, if you know as a fighter, I can't do to you physically what I can maybe tell this fighter here, because your
Definitely
body
not.
might not work that way.
Definitely not. Yo, listen.
You know,
There was, because I went through so many camps and I saw so many.
You've been
fighters,
around. You've been around. Yes.
Hey, listen, there's fighters that even by smelling the food they gain weight. You know, it's crazy. Different body, like you say. You know, but you as a coach, that's your job. Your job is to know your fighter. You know what I'm saying?
Your job is to protect your fighter and know your fighter.
But
like
if you don't know your fighter, you can't protect him.
But you know,
that's what I'm saying.
I agree. A lot of coaches won't protect their fighter because they're so deep into the woods, into the fight, and like you said, they may see you fighting at one weight, and that's not your true weight no more. Just because you were successful 5 fights ago at that weight doesn't mean going up.
And Dave, nowadays you gotta use the technology. That's an advantage. Use that.
Oh, I agree.
Use that.
I agree.
You know, you have people. You have what do you call it? People that can break down food to the best, of the knowledge. Like use that.
Listen,
don't be ignorant.
You have that. You have recovery today.
Yes.
So
recovery.
you're training. You're in a 10-week camp. All right. And I've been in camp just like you. And now, lately, as the camps. With the technology, you have the recovery of these athletes who, you're training for 10 weeks, okay? You're getting ready for a fight. You're up in the morning running, or whenever you run or whatever. But you're working out twice a day, maybe 3 times a day.
3 times a day we used to work out.
Okay, so 3 times a day. Maybe with 1 day off a week. Maybe.
We had, once you step to the level where you train for 3 months, we had, let me see. Yeah, we had 2 days. 2 days off.
2 days off a week. Okay.
Yeah. Sundays and I believe Thursday.
Right. So now
it all depends, because it depends what days we spar.
Right. So then that's even right. So now you're a fighter who's got to make weight. So your first 2 weeks might just be conditioning before you even really start sparring.
And that's another thing, Dave. Yeah, that's another thing. Like,
and
once I stepped to that level, I was never out of shape. Like completely out of shape, never.
Right.
Because you can't go to camp just to make weight. You
right,
gotta go
but
to camp.
you need a week when you go to camp that you're gonna break it
definitely.
out and then move into your plan. Once you add sparring, it changes the game.
Yeah, it changes.
Because now you got to be
so much intense.
You got to be intense. You got to recover your body. And this has become a big thing. Ice bath, saunas, like you said, there's nutritionists out there. Okay, I'm gonna break your meal down to this. They're gonna tell you exactly what to eat and drink to make your weight.
And that's what I'm saying. You got to use the advantage. You have to, man. You don't be ignorant. It's like, the old days. Listen, everything has changed, man. It's like, why not use what God has given us? Like, listen, if God gives man the brain, use it.
No, I know. And look, I know from listening to you and being around the gym, and I've watched you talk to the kids and talk to people about boxing, and your knowledge is out there as far as, all aspects of the sport. Would we ever see you train someone?
I don't really, throw it out. I don't throw it.
I know you don't throw it out there, but if somebody came to you and said, "Hey, Delvin, we got this kid," or you noticed the kid and you said, "Let me get into this with you."
The only way I would train the kid, I gotta really see something in him. I'm not gonna waste his time or waste my time.
Right.
Because of the money. Because you know that some people want to be trainers. They probably got an illusion. They have a passion. But if you don't see something special in the kid, don't waste his time. I'm not gonna waste my time or waste his time. You know what I'm saying? You have to. As a coach, if you have experience, you see something special, okay, go for it. It might not work out. He might not become world champion.
Right.
But you give it a try because you saw something special. But I think I could just see a fighter. Yeah. I swear to God, I could just see a fighter and be like, nah, it's not going to happen. So why am I going to waste my time and waste his time? Let him concentrate on something else.
Yeah. Do you think that passion is still out there with fighters today, with the way things are with social media and everything? Now, you grew up in the era of, the real boxing gym, hardcore people, where there was probably people in that gym who weren't fighters who could fight. today. Do you see that? Where do you see the sport going today?
There's a lot of, not a lot, but I think there's young fighters out there that still have that mentality. They still got people behind them that have that passion, you know what I'm saying? And yes, it's more, it has become more of a competition of more like of Instagram competition, you know, Twitter, all that. But that motivates young kids, you know?
Yeah.
It's like a competition, like it motivates them. So so whatever happens in their career is more out there. So
yeah, everything they do.
They have that ego. It's like, listen, I gotta look good.
Yeah.
Because I'm out there. So it's still motivation, you know?
Yeah.
Now, are they doing the right training? That's a different story, you know? Do they have the discipline? But I do have the motivation, so it comes hand to hand. So I do see, I've been watching like young kids coming up, and there's talent still out there.
Yeah.
It's just, David, it just had turned. It's just a different business now. You know, it's just more, it's looked at more as a business.
Do you think the fighters are, when you talk about the business end of it, from when you were, the fighters are more in control of what's going on with the business today than before? Because they're the show now. They're the show. If you get a kid like Ryan Garcia, right, and you know he's successful already on YouTube and Instagram before he fights any of these fights.
This kid was a millionaire before he even tried a world champion.
Now you take him, right, and you put him up against a kid who's fighting his way to make money. And you know what it's like to get to 10 wins, 15 wins to make money in boxing, 20 wins. Yeah. It's a hard road.
Oh, man. Very.
Unless you're a Lomachenko or one of those elite guys that they come into the sport every now and then. You know, so do you think today with a guy like Garcia or fighters like that, coaches and people behind him really don't have much of a say to what he's doing because he's the show?
It all depends on the fighter because if you're smart, I mean, it's a show, but at the end of the day, when you step in that ring and you don't look good, I don't care how much of a fan base you have. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now, Ryan, he really stepped it up because his last win, right? His last win. But people really wasn't, like, people were not confident about him, you know?
No, because of the antics he pulled at the weigh-in and all the stuff leading up to the fight, what he was doing. And, you know.
But guess what? There we go. I mean, it's right there says it all. His performance, right? That's all that matters at the end of the day.
Wow, listen.
Right? Yes or no? The performance is what matters.
Listen, that's right there in black and white, Delvin. What happened is it's right there in black and white.
Exactly. You can't change that.
You know, and
now what happened? Now, how do you prepare to push such a great performance? You can't cheat it. We just said it, right?
Yeah.
You cannot cheat it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just can't cheat it. Like, Ryan has the talent, and people were doubting. I was doubting. I seen this guy go. He probably put up a great act. Is he really like that? Or was it really an act? You know, the way that he was doing the media, you know, all the crazy stuff that he was talking, the way he was reacting. I was looking at his face gesture. You know, it's like this kid's freaking gone.
Yeah,
I mean, he's fooled me.
He fooled a lot of people.
He fooled me, you know,
because you know what? It was like, and then you know when the fight happened, and obviously it was.
But
what
guess
it
what?
was.
Because some fighters, that's another topic. Some fighters need that. That's the way they control their nerves.
Yeah,
and that's the way like they let loose. I saw Ryan at that fight like he was loose. Like, yo, I'm here to win. I saw him like, yo, I'm loose. Like, he's like, I'm here for whatever. You can see the way he was fighting, the way he was aggressive, and say, I'm here for whatever. I'm here to take the win. You know, and he did it. So there's a lot of props to him. I mean,
who do you see out there that you like today? Fighters. And I know you watch a lot and you've done a lot of fights.
I got to be honest, man. I really don't watch much boxing nowadays. You know, I watch big fights like that, like Ryan, like Canelo.
But obviously you've announced them. You've been out there.
I mean, coming up, you mean like the champions?
Yeah, who do you like yourself personally that you would see and say, hey, I like, whether it's a champ, whether it's an up-and-comer, whether it's a guy there now, whether it's not?
You know, there's three fighters that I think, you know, Shakur Steve,
Yeah, Stevenson.
Shakur, yeah, I think once he gets his opportunity, I think he's going to shine. Mm-hmm. Ryan, he already shined, but I still have a little doubt about Ryan. You know,
Okay.
I still that, you know, we saw what happened with him against Davis. And, you know, it's just that night, he's the faster guy. He punches the harder. And this guy got caught. He got caught, like, you know, he got caught dry.
Yeah, but we talked about Devin Haney, and no disrespect to him, he is a talented fighter. When he's in the dog wars,
He's not special, Dave. That's what I'm saying.
he's not gonna knock you on your ass.
Yes, he doesn't have something special to what I was saying. When you asked me about being a trainer, like, yeah, he's good. There's something about him that he doesn't have that light.
Yeah,
You know? He doesn't have the personality. He doesn't have that light.
He don't have that when you're down, step on your neck and keep you down type of.
Yeah, he doesn't have that.
No, Gervonta Davis has that.
Oh man,
If you're down, he's gonna put his foot on your neck and finish you.
Yes.
You know.
He could take a punch and he could punch.
Yes.
And you know that he has the three most dangerous things that a boxer can have. He has speed, he got power, and he can take a punch. It's hard to beat a fighter like that.
You throw the fourth intangible in. He came up hard in his life too.
Well, to be a good boxer.
You know what I mean? He came up hard. He's
Listen.
not silver spoon.
Yeah, unfortunately,
Yes.
let me tell you something, unfortunately. When you come from a family that has money, you got everything,
It's hard to get out of bed.
It's hard to really get out of, like,
It's hard to
put
get out
in
of
the
bed.
training.
Listen, you know what? Hagler said it the best when he started making money. He says, as I got into my career later, it's hard to get out of silk sheets to go train.
Yes, it is.
And you know what? If you're making a lot of money, and I say this with Jake Paul, all these guys out there today, they don't got to fight. They don't got to get out of bed. What's their motivation? Their ego is definitely their motivation.
Ego, the passion for the sport. I mean, Jake Paul came from...
He was another millionaire before he even stepped in the ring.
YouTuber, millionaire.
Yep, him and his brother.
I mean, you gotta give a guy like that prop. You gotta respect him.
I respect him because you know what? Because I talked to Chad Dawson a couple of times, who was in camp with him, and I said, Chad, and actually Finelli Jr. was in the camp with him also, right? So I said to Chad, I'm like, Chad, and he's like, no, he trains. He trains.
You gotta respect him, man. I respect the guy.
And as a fighter, man, I respect anybody that's going to train. I don't care if you A, B, C, D, or E fighter. If you're putting in the work to get your fight,
that's what I'm saying.
So listen, I know you're a little pressed for time, and we're gonna finish real quick here. I kind of throw a couple things, but I definitely want you back because I think there's so much in boxing that we can talk about.
I'm happy for you, Dave.
You and I, and I appreciate you really coming on. It means a lot to me. Definitely. But a couple quick questions I hit people with before they leave. If you were going to be in a foxhole, who's that person next to you? Who you bringing with you? You're going to war. You're in a foxhole. Who's that person?
Lou Fusco.
Lou Fusco. And we didn't even touch on Lou. And
that's a good thing.
And we didn't even touch on Lou. And you know what? Great trainer. I got to see him a little later in his career with you guys.
The only real guy that was in my team.
Yeah.
But the whole time. So
Shout out to Lou Fusco. You get three people to go to dinner with. They could be dead, alive. It doesn't matter. You want to go to dinner. You're going to sit there with them, have dinner, and talk. Who are they?
Lou Fusco, Mike Salazar, my son,
all right,
Delvin Jr., 22-year-old.
All right. I like that. Well, listen, we definitely want you back. Mr. Delvin Rodriguez, great career, retired now, exciting fighter, great analyst for ESPN. Can't say enough about you, buddy. I mean, really,
Thank you, Dave. Thank you for having me.
People don't know you. They know you as the fighter. I appreciate you as the knowledge that you have behind the sport, and that, the little things that you pick up. We appreciate everybody on Coach's Corner. Shout out to my people at Nirvana. Shout out to my people at Get Elevated for all the gear. And we'll catch you guys again.